Welcome back to Everyday Wisdom for Becoming Relentless. So, yesterday we talked about the edge of breakthrough, that moment when most people quit unaware that their miracle is only a few steps away. Today we go deeper. So, if relentless is the fruit, then grit is the root. Let's dissect it because grit isn't just a word we admire, it is a structure we can build into our lives. Every building that stands tall has what we call an internal frame, the steel, the concrete, the beams that holds it together when the wind blows. In the same way, every resilient life has an internal frame called grit. When life shakes you, it's what keeps you standing. Grit keeps you standing in the midst of storms. Proverbs 24:10 says, "If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small." That verse doesn't condemn, it diagnoses. It says, if you crumble easily, you've built your strength shallow, and strength like muscles can be trained. And that's the key here. So, what's great? Angela Duckworth, author of Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance, defined it as passion and perseverance for every long term goals. It is staying committed when enthusiasm fades. It's loving the goal enough to outlast the discomfort it brings. Talent may open the door, but grit is what keeps you inside long enough to master the room. And that's always required if you want to play the long game. When Angela Duckworth taught mathematics, she noticed something strange in her students. Some students with high IQs gave up quickly, while others with average ability kept pushing, practicing, and improving. And in the end, they outperformed the gifted, quote unquote. Her conclusion changed the world of psychology. Success isn't about who's the smartest, it's about who is the steadiest, steadfastness. And so that is why we're examining resilience. Skills count once, but grit multiplies it. Whatever you do, you will always come to a point when grit is required. Think about sports. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, for instance. Serena Williams lost matches that could have broken lesser athletes. David Goggins failed Navy SEALs training twice before passing on his third try, he said. Each of them had one common thread: grit. They didn't define themselves by pain, they defined themselves by progress through pain. Let us sink in. The Bible gives us similar stories: Joseph in prison, Moses in exile, Paul in chains. Each could have said, I've done enough. But they held on, not because they were strong, but because they were anchored. That's the anatomy of grit. An anchored soul, a soul that is focused and fixed for the long haul, for the long term. Let's break grit into four muscles you can train. The first muscle is purpose, the why that makes pains worthwhile. Without a why, you will run out of will. Secondly, perseverance, the decision to continue when comfort says stop. Thirdly, patience, the ability to let progress take time without losing heart. And fourthly, perspective, the wisdom to see delays as development, not denial. If one of these weakens, your grit leaks. So take time to study these four areas and see how to develop them. I remember leading a project years ago that seemed impossible: budget cuts, deadline missed, team morale low, every logical reason said walk away. But one truth held me: God never gives you a vision He has not already equipped you to finish. So we stayed, we adjusted, we learned, we prayed, and eventually the same team delivered excellence. Not because we were the best, but because we refused to be the first to quit. And that's the key, refusal to quit. Here is what psychology adds: grit grows in proportion to identity. When you start saying, I am a finisher, your brain begins to align with that declaration. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence circuit strengthens. That's why small wins matters. They rewire you from fragile to faithful, keeps you steady internally. Consistency beats intensity when intensity cannot last. And that's why it's good to stay the course, even when it doesn't look like it. Look at Jesus. He faced betrayal, accusation, agony, yet he endured the cross for the joy that was set before him. That's divine grit. That's power to stay the course because love is larger than pain. So when you feel weary, remember your endurance links you to his example. He didn't quit, and because he didn't, you can't quit. Stay the course, my friend. Think of a marathon runner, for instance, at kilometer 38. Their body is screaming, stop. But they've trained for this wall. They know if they just keep moving, one breath, one stride, the finish line will appear. Life is often like that. Breakthrough belongs to those who keep breathing when it burns. Will you keep going, my friend? So, here is how to start strengthening your grit today. Number one, choose one discipline that stretches you. Maybe waking earlier, learning daily, and exercising consistently in prayer. Two, track your follow through, not your feelings. Progress loves evidence. Thirdly, reframe discomfort when it hurts. Say, I am growing capacity. Fourthly, celebrate micro victories. They are proof of momentum. And lastly, but not the least, speak life to yourself. Words sculpt stamina, it shapes your stamina. A famous violinist was once asked, how do you play so perfectly? He smiled and said, it's simple. I practice on the days I feel like it and on the days I don't. That's great. Doing what must be done long after the mood has left the room is the key to growth. If you have been wondering whether you have what it takes, hear me. You do, because the Spirit of God within you is resilient. He empowers you to endure, to learn, and to rise again. When others faint in the day of adversity, you will stand because your strength is no longer small. It's sourced in grace. If you have been wondering whether you have what it takes, hear me, you do. Because the Spirit of God is within you, and that spirit is resilient. He empowers you to endure, to learn, and to rise. When others faint in the day of adversity, you will stand because your strength is no longer small. It's sourced in grace. So, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, where in my life do I need to build more grit? Is it in consistency? Is it in courage? Is it in patience? Write it down and name it, because what you name, you can nurture. Then pray simple prayer like this: Lord, grow my grit when I'm tempted to faint. Strengthen my spirit to stand even in the midst of the storms. Help me to keep going because this is my moment. Remember, grit isn't glamour. It's not about noise or attention. It's about quiet strength, consistent effort, and unshakable faith. Over time, grit becomes grace in motion, and grace turns ordinaries into extraordinary. And it's your moment. Never forget this. Skills count, but grit multiplies it. So keep building your internal frame. The world doesn't need faster people, it needs steadier ones. Skill counts once, grit multiplies it. So keep building your internal frame. The world doesn't need faster people, you see. It needs steadier ones. And that's who you are becoming. It's your day. It's your time. Speak to you soon.